Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is Cam with Look We Are Included. And today we have a very special guest, Christian Ross. Okay, she is the founder of Happy Talks. And let me tell you something this woman, when we say innovative, when we say passionate, and we also say electrifying, because that's what her personality is, she is definitely defying the odds. And she's also a real estate agent here in Atlanta. Please welcome, Christian. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
So, Happy Talks, we know that this is for the elderly, okay?
Yes.
And it's very rare that, we're seeing things more for the senior citizen population because everybody's just
Mhm.
focused on, oh, AI and, oh, college students. But talk to us about, your company.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me. Happy Talks, we are on a mission of friendships and connection. The reality is that right now, everyone's going a million miles per minute, and we understand that. But when you get older, you start to have a little more subtraction than addition in your life, especially if your mobility is kind of like fading and you're not able to move as much as you used to, you can't drive anymore, then you start to become more isolated. So, our goal is to help older adults feel seen, feel heard, and just have dignity in conversation so that they know someone cares. And we provide a membership. So, we consider ourselves there's healthcare and there's social care, but we know that social care is a part of healthcare because social care, when you're connected, you have better health. That's just point blank, period. When you have people who love you around you, you don't go to the doctors as often. You have, if you're an older adult, you have a 50% less risk of getting early onset dementia, and the list goes on and on. Right. So for us, we call them through our memberships, older adults, once, twice, or three times per week. Every month, they get a handwritten note, our happy mail, and then every quarter, they get a happy box.
Well, I can tell you this, when you get older, you're going to have a lot of blessings. I'll tell you right now.
I pray.
Oh, because
At lookweareincluded.com, we don't just promote businesses, creatives, and professionals. We help you get seen. In the last 30 days, one of our accounts reached over 100,000 views with no paid advertising, and most of those views came from non-followers. When you advertise with lookweareincluded.com, you're not just buying space. You're investing in exposure across our website, magazine, and social media channels. Don't wait. Text Media AD to 443-957-1519 today. LookWeAreIncluded.com, where your story matters and your brand gets seen.
I mean, what made you start this? Because so many people, they neglect the elderly, unfortunately.
Yeah. So for me, I saw situations with my own families. You're 20 some and your aunts are in their 40s or 30s, and it's one thing. And then as you start going through life and you see them getting older and then you see them having challenges, you're like, what? Because in your mind, they're still that 30 some year old aunt, just like to them, you're that 10-year-old kid. And even though they see you as an adult, they really don't see you as an adult at the same time. So I saw it in my family first, and then my background's real estate. I've been in real estate in Atlanta for 20 years. I have been on the sales side as well as on the managing broker side, managing agents and lots of contracts. And I have dealt with so many situations with my own clients and then the agents who I helped their clients. So seeing it and seeing the difference the past 5 to 7 years, I was like, older adults need someone to talk to who's trusted because scammers right now, like the FBI said in 2023, scammers were scamming the elderly at $3.3 billion a year. And then you have AI that had just more of a proliferation in 2024. Well, that number skyrocketed to for another $1 billion. So it's just important that we're protecting our elders and that we also too are helping them live their best lives. Like they put into this system for us. They laid the path for us. We can't just let them just, not be cared and loved on.
No, I agree with you 100%, especially because you hear about those rare scenarios, the sad but true. People will call and say, oh, if you don't give me this and X, Y, and Z, and they get fearful, especially if they are not in communication at least once or twice a week with somebody,
Right.
they might think it's actually them.
Yeah.
Happy Talks, this is one reason why we wanted to really highlight the brand. You do a lot of brain health games. Oh, and I
Yeah.
love that because I know Alexa's out there, they do have AI components, but it's nothing like talking to a human.
Yeah, and
It,
and all of our buddies are humans,
and
and
you
they're a
said
wide
that.
range. Yeah, and they're a wide range of ages. Our oldest buddy is 75.
Mhm.
She's talking to an 85-year-old, and the 85-year-old actually kind of like lives vicariously through the 75-year-old, because the 75-year-old is very mobile, goes on cruises, does this. So she's always like, she's my window to the world. That's what she calls her. And so I thought about that. I was like, wow. I was like, that's interesting. I think that we could be a window to the world for someone just based off of our daily lives that we live.
Talk to me about how this works. So, would I recommend somebody or my grandmother,
Mhm.
or if I'm elderly, and if I know I need somebody to talk to, how would this process go?
So for us, you can call us on the phone. We have an answering service 24/7. So for some reason at 3 a.m., if you're like, you know what, I want to learn more about the service, you can call the number. You can go to our website, put it on an inquiry form, or you can text us at that same number too. But we will make sure to respond to you. We have an amazing team that is so passionate. And I just want to also bring one thing up that you said about the spoofing, the call spoofing. One thing we always recommend with families is get a safe word. Now, whenever I'm talking about this, I always use the same word, and tell people don't use the word pineapple because I say it all the time. But if your family code word is pineapple, if someone calls your grandma, they're spoofing your voice, and she says, "What's our family safe word?" and they don't say pineapple, she needs to hang up. No more conversation. Don't let them talk their way out of it. Hang up. So get a family safe word so that you know and your elder parents know that if we don't say this word, and it doesn't come out in 1 second, hang up and just call me back at the number that you know. Like, don't engage. A lot of times people will still engage, and they engage because they are lonely. They are engaging because they do want to talk to someone. And for us, we're not trying to replace anyone in the family. We are truly just trying to be a supplement because we understand they have basketball practice, work, HOA, all these different things going for their attention every day.
You know what? What are three tips that you would give maybe an elderly person who didn't have maybe a good relationship with their kids at first, but want to kind of rebuild that? Because that's what we see, especially somebody who got like 5 or 6. You're like, well, what happened? What
Yeah.
did you give them?
I would say really just mail, call and leave a voicemail first, or send a text and just say, I'm thinking about you and I really want to hear your voice. Because I think that's so powerful. Like, everybody wants to be seen. No matter what we say, no matter how independent we act, we want someone to see us, to see who we are, to see what we bring to the table. That's like human nature. So I think that a first step in repairing is just saying, like, I'm thinking about you. I want to talk to you. I want to hear your voice. And hopefully that bridges a gap. And, I think too, if they could send a handwritten note, like, I'm a big fan of handwritten notes. Like, it is my goal. I don't make it every week, but it's my goal to send 5 notes a week to people because I just want them to know that I'm thinking of them and I'm doing it a different way. I want them to understand that I put effort into understanding that I'm thinking about them.
And when did you start Happy Talk?
We started in 2021. Like, on that part of COVID, it was still like we were opening up. But honestly, COVID wasn't my motivation. It was what I saw every single day that was happening before COVID. Like, COVID exasperated it, but this has been going on. And now we have the sandwich generation. And the sandwich generation is those who are taking care of responsible for their elders and responsible financially or for care for their kids. You've got that sandwich generation that's juggling both, and they're in the middle. And that is now a massive population. So we want to serve them. We want to serve healthcare providers, because the reality is, when you lack social support, what do? You go to the hospital, because what do? They wait on your hand on foot. You can push a button and someone comes to talk to you and say hello. So we're trying to keep people out of these systems, but then also to, help them with their brain health when we're talking about memories that they have or things that they're sharing. And everybody always talks about the news and the weather. So we're always up to date on those.
No, especially now because the elderly, I think they're just fascinated with, okay, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Before you just had your local affiliate, then your national news. But now
Yep.
it's like, okay, we got everything I need to keep up. You don't want to be,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at your YouTube channel because for everybody who is watching, they are pretty active and you can go to Happy Talks. So if you have an elderly parent and you said, listen, they need just a little bit more TLC, I fully recommend 100% Happy Talks, okay? Because they are empowering older adults through connection. Another thing is they have a link tree. So creating connection and social chats for their seniors. Do you ever have meetups?
We do. So we do things locally in Atlanta. A lot of times they are either at senior communities or different events, and we'll just kind of do something there at whatever those events are or participate in them. Like, it's like for a nonprofit in September, we will be at a fall prevention. So our whole goal, oh, that's our friend Stefano. We were just saying like people you should know, and they're great because they actually they have something called Oppo AI, and they help older adults just help learn technology. So if they have a question of how do I send this or how do I do that, they can ask their AI.
Oh my gosh, this is phenomenal. And let me ask you this because you do have a real estate background. So how
Mhm.
do you merge this? You've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah.
Talk to us. How is the market going? Is it really a buyer's market or a seller's market?
It really depends on the area. I mean, it's really truly it's very neighborhood specific. I have one client I've been working with. They've been my clients for years, and we're working on a sale for a family member, and it's taken us 15 months. We just went under contract this week, but it's taken us 15 months because there's a very specific pocket in Buckhead that everyone wants to be in, and so we've been outbid by cash buyers going 150,000 over. Like that's something that happened during COVID that a lot of other markets aren't seeing, but you have these sub markets where it happens at. So condos right now, there's a lot of inventory, and it's interesting too because when I think of elder care and I think of real estate, they're so tied together because so many older baby boomers, people in the silent generations that are in their late 80s and 90s, they still own a lot of real estate, and the reality is they're aging in place. So what product do we have coming onto the market? And the reality is, if something does come up, you've got all these people clamoring for it. And then once interest rates go down, I don't know what's going to happen because it's going to be crazy because it's so many people are waiting on the sidelines to move because they've been stuck for years because the rates have been high the past few years.
So what do you think for the elderly?
Hmm.
A lot of them are in their 20, 30-year home, but now
Hmm.
we're seeing the shift where they want to be in the condos. They don't want to have that huge
Yeah.
even though it's paid for, they're like, hey, these rooms were once filled with all these people. They're not here anymore. Some of them are gone, like gone, gone. So,
Yeah.
what do you recommend? Should they downsize?
I would say, it's really looking at your complete financial picture because, some people are going to move in with family and maybe they'll expand the home or they'll have something outside, kind of not quite a she shed, but, something that's another structure outside. Or they'll end up going to a community or they'll go and, like you said, buy a condo or buy something else. So I think it's really looking at it as a whole strategy of how much cash do you have. And also, too, like if you're living another 20, 25 years, what does that cash look like after you sell so that you can make sure you're making the right decisions on what you want to do? Because maybe you do want to stay in that house and you want to possibly have other people like move in. I have a new client that said, I know my house is going to be the senior crash pad in 5 years. And I was like, that's hilarious. So she's specifically buying to have bedrooms with in-suite bathrooms because she wants it where if her folks like, maybe someone sells their house or whatever, they can come stay with her, know they have a place. And I think that's the other thing that goes with both. It's community. At the end of the day, we all need to have community and we all need to realize that we rely on someone else. We're not an island.
We are not. And I love this. When is your next meetup for Happy Talks this year?
So we're trying to see now because we're doing the event in September. So we're thinking it would be October. We're still trying to just finalize what that will look like.
Make sure you invite us
I will. I definitely
because
will.
we're going to be there. And if somebody wants to use their insurance, is that
Mhm.
possible? Or do they have to pay out of pocket?
So right now we are private pay. However, we suggest that they get on our list because there are now codes specifically geared towards social care. This is brand new to Medicare, which is massive. So, and we have a chief nursing officer. We also have a doctor that works with us so that we can get it paid for in that process. But right now we're still going through our Medicare approval, but we will be there soon. So we're like, get on the wait list so we can get you right in as soon as it's ping, go.
And two more questions.
Yeah.
What is some advice you would give to someone that is a caregiver, but they need a break? Because some caregivers, they get guilty. They're like, oh my gosh. Like what are some things you can say, hey, do this for self-care, do this to ensure that, hey, they can also talk to others outside of maybe the three people living in the home.
Yeah, I think that's so important because I actually had a former caregiver on our podcast who was caregiving for her. She was caring for her mother and her husband, who at the time had Parkinson's disease. So imagine being a caregiver for two. And so she was a caregiver for two. And then you have a lot of people out here who are caregivers for their parents and for kids. Like it's so much what people are going through, which is another reason why I feel like no matter what's going on in your day, give grace to that person you see that did something stupid because you do not know what's going on at home or in their mind or in their heart. But getting back to your question, when it comes to caregiving, I think the biggest thing is to give yourself grace because the reality is that you stood up to care. There's actually a huge problem in Japan right now that you don't really hear about in the news. It goes from, people either putting their folks into a community or they're taking them out of this world because they're like, I don't want to care for them. And it's a really prevalent problem there. So I think, A, give yourself grace. And I love what Miss Carlita said on our podcast. She said, don't listen to people's advice who are not in your situation. She's like, you have to do what's right for you. So if you take the space, and now she's an entrepreneur. She's in her 70s. She's an entrepreneur, sells jewelry. One of her necklaces and earrings was just in a Tyler Perry movie. But that started out of her creating space for herself to do something else while she was caregiving, to just have her spirit somewhere else that was feeding her. And for that, that was jewelry design. So find something for yourself that you can have to yourself. And even if it's 10 minutes, whatever, set your Apple Watch, set your phone, set whatever, give yourself 10 minutes and just carve out those 10 minutes, those 5 minutes, but make them good.
I love that. And just to your point about there's an issue in Japan about caregiving, they
Oh my
usually
gosh.
say when things happen in one country, depending on how far advanced they are, it's on its way to the US.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like a 10-year gap sometimes. So when you were talking about impact of dual caregiving on well-being and loneliness among ever married women in Japan, and we've seen that, unfortunately, if a child has, let's just say, autism, and then they're also taking care of their grandparent, that person,
Yeah.
if they can afford to be a stay-at-home mom, but then all the pressure is on the primary source of income, and it just gets out of hand. So,
Yeah.
last but not least, how would you tell people basically to basically just have joy in the season that they're in? Because when they get the happy talks, that is when their spirit is lifted. That's when they're just calling nonstop. They call it 3, 4, 5 and more. It doesn't matter. But before they make that call, what's some encouragement you would give them?
I would say, it's when we just marvel. And when I say seriously pause and marvel at the fact that we can breathe and that we woke up, like everything else in the day is a bonus. That's how I view things. So when things happen, and I mean, even when you're outside, I think it's really important for us. And I say this a lot because I feel it even more every day. The world is getting louder and louder by the second. Everybody's coming for your attention. That is the currency. How can you just shift yourself away? Look up at the clouds. Like I looked up at the clouds yesterday and it was crazy. There was this beautiful glow at like 7 p.m. And I just sat there for a minute, like, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. But like, we need to pause. Like, there's no other way to say it. We need to pause and we need to truly, I know people say be grateful, but we need to be grateful. The reality is, when you look at what's happening in Sudan and Gaza, like, that is not our lives that we live right here. And at least if we're in the US and we're healthy and we have a great family, it's, you know, take stock of your blessings. And if for some reason you're getting down, like make a list in your phone that you can go back to. Make it your happy list and go back to your happy list when you need to pick me up.
Are you a counselor?
I play one on TV. No, I'm joking.
Are you a therapist?
I am not, but I will tell you, I feel like real estate is therapy. And then actually like having clients at the same time is managing 150 agents. That was a lot of therapy. I felt like.
I'll tell you this. Look, we are included. We fully endorse Happy Talks. We'll be doing some more work together. Um, I love, love, love what you're doing. You are impacting
Thank you.
so many. And ladies and gentlemen, the description is below. If you want to book her for an interview, although she is busy, she will look at the request. And then you can also email her as well. And then any elderly that you know or any senior citizen homes that you want to present this to, please do that. Like she said, she is on the Medicare approval list, and that will be done very shortly. And they can accept private funding as well. So if you all have any questions, just make sure you reach out to us and we'll talk soon. Thank you, Christian.